what is inflation? Inflation is the rise in the price of goods and services because of which there is a decline in the purchasing power of a given currency over time. Did you understand? Let me try again. Inflation is the increase in the cost of something. The price of 10 grams of gold in 2011 would cost you 26,400. The same amount of gold 10 years later is going to cost you 47,000. Petrol in the capital New Delhi used to cost 37.99 in 2005. In 2010, rupees 48. In 2050, 60 rupees 0.49 paise. And now, in 2021, the cost of petrol is 94.49. So now you can buy 1 litre of petrol in 2021 with 100 rupees as compared to 2.6 litres of petrol in 2005. So what caused the rise in price? Inflation. So my friends, inflation directly impacts us. Now let's understand what causes inflation. To understand the cause of inflation, it's very important to understand demand and supply and prices of goods and services. If demand is more than the supply, then prices increase. And when supply is more than demand, then prices decrease. So the first cause of inflation is demand pull inflation. When the demand increases faster than the supply of goods and services, demand pull inflation occurs. For example, everyone wants to buy a car and there is a limited supply of cars. The price of these cars will increase due to the limited supply and increasing demand. This happens when government decreases taxes, putting more money in the hands of people. People start demanding more goods and services and hence increasing the price of these goods and services due to the limited supply. In 1980s, the government of UK cut interest rates and taxes. Due to the lower interest rates, people started borrowing more money, and due to the reduced taxes, people had more money to spend, leading to rapid growth in the demand for goods and services, which caused demand pull inflation. The other reason is cost push inflation. When there is an increase in the cost of raw materials or higher taxes are imposed by the government, the cost of production rises. The demand in these goods haven't increased, but the cost of production has risen. Hence, businesses will pass on this to its consumers by increasing the product price. This is cost push inflation. Let's say the cost of jet fuel has increased, but the demand for flight tickets remains the same. Since operational costs of flights have increased, this extra cost is passed on to the consumers, hence increasing the ticket prices. This is how cost push inflation occurs. There is also hyperinflation, which is a rapid and out of control increase in inflation. We will discuss hyperinflation in another dedicated video. Now that you understand that high inflation is not good for us, is low or no inflation good for us? We saw that inflation occurs due to an increase in demand for goods and services. In low inflation, the demand for goods and services is lower than what it should be. Due to this low demand, businesses can't raise the prices for their goods and services and hence won't be able to increase wages, and income will become stagnant. In fact, low inflation can lead to recession with increased unemployment. Inflation affects our lives in more than one way, and inflation has many moving factors like falling interest rates, taxes rising or falling, cost of labor, cost of material and printing of money, etc. For a developing country like India, the ideal inflation rate is around 4%. At these levels, the unemployment rate are low and the prices of goods and services are fairly stable. So what should you do when your rupee's value or purchasing power is decreasing? The first thing you can do is increase your income more than the inflation rate each year. If the inflation rate is at 5% and your income increases at 10% every year, then that's good news. Always try to keep your income growing higher than the inflation rate. The second thing you can do is invest in instruments that give you a higher return than the rate of inflation. Let's say you keep the money in the bank and earn a return of 3%, whereas the rate of inflation is at 5%, then your money is decreasing in value by 2%. But if you invest in an instrument, let's say like a mutual fund, where you may get a return of 10 to 15% and the inflation is at 5%, then you're beating inflation by 5 to 10%, and that's when you will be at a good spot. So next time you invest in instruments, you should always calculate your return keeping inflation and taxes in mind. We will make a video on taxes, so stay tuned for that. We upload 2 videos every week so that we can help you make your financial life better. If you found this video helpful, you can subscribe to our channel. Happy investing!